It's no secret that New York City has been struggling with migrant issues recently, with many even labeling it as a full-blown crisis. However, steps are being made to combat this. It's causing a bit of a divide. Today, on Across the Globe, we'll be looking at how New York City has started busing migrants to other states. So brace yourself, here's everything we know. 2022, a challenging year for New York City. Before we get into the recent events that are causing a lot of political chit-chatter, let's look at the year this crisis really started to bubble. According to City and State New York, over 210,000 migrants have arrived in New York City since the spring of 2022. They noted that many of these migrants are hailing from countries in Latin America and the Caribbean, though a significant number have also come from countries in Africa and China. Of course, many people see America as the land of opportunity. But New York City in particular is a sanctuary city, and it has worn that badge with pride for many years. With that, migrants likely flock here feeling that they'll be welcomed with open arms. According to Yang for New York City is home to 3.1 million immigrants who make up approximately 37% of the city's population and 45% of the workforce. But in 2022, when the influx began flooding mainstream news, people began to worry, despite the fact that the majority of immigrants contribute to society in positive ways. In September 2023, Mayor Eric Adams put fear into the hearts of many New Yorkers when he said that the migrant issue will destroy New York City. He added that he doesn't see an end to the problem either, and then even requested federal help. So, when the mayor is worried, how are residents of the city not going to be too? Well, according to Newsweek, a majority of New Yorkers believe that the arrival of tens of thousands of migrants to the city since April 2022 has now turned into a full-blown crisis. Furthermore, some residents have begun to feel unsafe in the city. However, it's been argued that the influx of migrants has not caused crime to increase in NYC. But according to the New York Post, 75% of the people who have been arrested in Midtown Manhattan in recent months for crimes like assault, robbery, and domestic violence are migrants. They added that in parts of Queens, the figure is more like 60%. And on any given day, Big Apple criminal court dockets are packed with asylum seekers who have run afoul of the law. Texas versus New York, a shaky situation. For some context, let's briefly talk about sanctuary states. With 11 states proudly displaying the sanctuary banner through a combination of legislative and administrative acts, sanctuary states have emerged as a hot topic in American politics. These states are California, Colorado, Connecticut, Illinois, Massachusetts, New Jersey, Oregon, Rhode Island, Vermont, Washington, and New York. These states foster safe havens for undocumented immigrants, embracing them with open arms, or at least that's the idea. Meanwhile, down in Texas, as of 2024, no city has officially claimed the title of sanctuary city, stirring the pot in the ongoing Texas versus the state of New York showdown. It's like a game of political tug-and-war where New York struts around with its sanctuary status while Texas holds its ground, all amid a lively chorus of opinions and debates. And this is where things get a little complicated. In April 2022, Republican Governor Greg Abbott of Texas declared in that his state will begin busing migrants released from federal custody to other states. He claimed that he was taking this action to keep the government from bearing the burdens imposed by open border advocates in other parts of the country. In February 2024, the Texas Tribune reported that since Governor Greg Abbott announced the program, Texas has bused over 102,000 migrants to New York, Chicago, Denver, Philadelphia, Los Angeles, and Washington, D.C. They added that this initiative came with a hefty price tag. And as of January 24th, the state had spent more than $148 million to bus migrants to predominantly Democratic cities. As you can imagine, a feud started to form between Abbott and Adams, and fuel was added to the fire when Abbott explained the reasoning for his actions. As reported by the Daily Mail, Abbott stated that when Adams started to blame him for the city's migrant crisis, he decided if he was going to be accused of busing migrants there, he might as well just do it. Abbott said, "Out of nowhere, Mayor Adams started criticizing me for busing them to New York, which I was not doing. But he kept criticizing me. I thought, you know what? New York is a sanctuary city. If I'm going to get the criticism, I'm going to get the credit." So, started busing them to New York. So, let's skip forward to 2024 and assess how New York responded to Abbott's program. In a quirky legal ploy, New York tried to use an outdated anti-pauper legislation to block Texas's contentious plan to provide free bus transportation for the city for migrants from the southern border. This 2-century-old law was originally designed to prevent municipalities from being financially responsible for the care of indigent individuals, effectively prohibiting the importation of paupers into the state. This law's justification dates back to a period when towns were worried about becoming overrun by the poor. In addition to drawing criticism, attempting to apply such an antiquated law in a contemporary setting shows how far states will go to manage immigration and resource distribution. However, in November 2024, the Texas Tribune reported that the lawsuit Mayor Eric Adams brought forward in January was dismissed. Justice Mary Rosado said in a sternly worded decision that the law is unconstitutional for several reasons. First, she stated that states are not permitted to regulate the interstate transportation of people based on their economic status, and added that the statute also violates a fundamental right, the right to travel. So the concern is still growing for Mayor Adams and the residents of his city. In October 2024, an NYC spokesperson told Fox News that the influx was exacerbated by Abbott, and that resources have been exhausted in part due to his efforts. Fox News added that the influx of migrants has put a strain on social services and led to scenes of migrants lining up outside the Roosevelt Hotel. In terms of cost, things are getting pretty pricey. Over $5 billion is anticipated to be spent on the migrant issue. And Adams has previously stated that expenses could reach over $10 billion by the end of the next fiscal year, and previous estimates had put that number even higher. So what else does Mayor Adams have up his sleeve to try and make things better for the people of New York City? Let's take a look. New York City flips the script. On October 28, 2024, Fox News reported that amid an ongoing battle between officials over how to handle the migrant crisis, New York City had begun buying tickets for thousands of migrants to travel to Texas via bus or plane. Ironically, where many of them originally traveled to the sanctuary city from in the first place. They stated that New York City has been providing settlement options to migrants since the influx began in 2022, and in 2023 opened a re-ticketing center to offer one-way plane tickets to migrants. Fox News confirmed that so far, New York City has issued more than 47,000 tickets, and roughly 4,500 migrants have been sent to Texas using bus or plane tickets bought by NYC. This number is rather caustic, seeing as this was the average number of migrants arriving in NYC at one point of the influx. However, Mayor Adams isn't pinpointing Texas. As reported by ABC 13 Eyewitness News, Liz Garcia, who works at Mayor Eric Adams' press office, stated that while Texas is the top destination for migrants as part of the city's relocation program, the program actually works by interviewing migrants and allowing them to choose where they want to go. New York City's further measures revealed. As well as this new busing program, New York City has thrown another spanner in the works of their bid to tackle the migrant crisis. As reported by Yahoo News, New York City is ending a program that provided prepaid debit cards to migrant families living in the sanctuary city. The program was providing migrant families up to $350 a week and began with 500 migrant families with children. New York City had said that the program would save the city $600,000 a month and $7.2 million annually. By July 2024, 7,300 households were part of the extended program. However, many critics argue that the program unfairly gave preference to migrants over other needy New Yorkers and was prone to abuse. In a statement issued to Fox 5 New York, Adams announced the end of the Immediate Response Cards pilot program. He said, "Through the Immediate Response Cards pilot program, we were able to reduce food waste, redirect millions of dollars to our local economy, and provide more culturally relevant food to more than 2,600 migrant families in our care. As we move towards more competitive contracting for asylum seeker programs, we have chosen not to renew the emergency contract for this pilot program once the one-year term concludes." What's next for New York City? As the Texas bus wheels keep on rolling and New York plays its own game of repatriation ping pong, it seems this tug-of-war over migrants could stretch on longer than a summer road trip with kids in the back seat. If Texas remains determined to send migrants on a one-way ticket to the Big Apple, while New York flexes its muscles to send them back or off to other states, this circus may just continue. And it's looking like Mayor Adams will not be stopping Governor Greg Abbott anytime soon. As mentioned, the New York Supreme Court ruled that New York City can't prevent buses from bringing migrants from Texas, but nothing is stopping them from sending them right back. So, as New York City grapples with a continuing influx of newcomers, whether welcomed with open arms or sitting back in a legal game of cat and mouse, the city's resources, infrastructure, and social services may face increased strain. The continuous cycle of arrival and departure could disrupt community stability and complicate the already challenging landscape of housing, education, and healthcare. However, on the flip side, this scenario might also spark innovative solutions and collaboration between local organizations and the city government, as they strive to create a welcoming environment for those seeking refuge. Ultimately, how New York City navigates this complex situation could redefine its identity, balancing its storied legacy as a sanctuary for immigrants with the practical realities of meeting the needs of both its long-term residents and its new arrivals. But for now, only time will tell. What about the 10 states Americans can't wait to leave?